Yaakov Avinu, he's mispalel, he's paga b'makom, v'yolin sham, and he sleeps there. So we know the Rashi, that by Yolin Sham says Rashi, Vayishka b'makom ahu. He sleeps there, kiva shemesh, the sun had set. He takes me'avnei ha'makom and he puts it me'rashoisav, around his head or under his head. Vayishka b'makom ahu. And Yaakov Avinu sleeps in that place, says Rashi lashon miyat. It's a miyut in that makom. Ba'oisei makom shachav, aval yudal shanim sheshimesh, bebeis shem ve'ever, or bebeis ever lo shachav balayla. She'oisik b'Torah. So Yaakov Avinu slept there, but the 14 years that he was in yeshiva shem ve'ever, he didn't sleep, he was Isaac in Torah. Now there's a hadgasha, it doesn't say, the Gemara already says that it's impossible to go 3 days without sleep. That's a Gemara. Somebody swears not to sleep for 3 days, so the Gemara says, Malkin Isai v'yashal alta, you give him Malkus and he goes right to sleep, because it's impossible. 3 days a person can't survive without sleep. So it's possible. It's possible we can learn Chazal that it was Shaloi Kederech HaTeva. It was a nace. It doesn't bother to learn it's a nace. Chazal are saying something though. What are we told here? And there's nothing wrong with sleep. Big Tzaddikim slept. He clearly slept right here. What's it saying? Chazal are talking to us, and Chazal wants to know lashon miyut, that in Shem ve'ever he wouldn't sleep alayla. Now, Pi Pashtus, it could be slept by Yom. The lashon of Chazal is Yudal Shanim Sheshimish Bebeis Ever Loishachav Balayla Shoisik B'Torah. He didn't sleep alayla. Doesn't say he didn't sleep by Yom. That's the lashon of Chazal. He probably slept by Yom. It doesn't. I'm not coming to rewrite what we learned when we were kids. And if somebody wants to say a nace that he didn't need any sleep, it doesn't bother me that the Avos lived on a different plane. I don't think that's the sugya. The sugya is balayla, he wouldn't sleep, he's Isaac in Torah. We find already David HaMelech, Chatzos Laila Akum, he would get up at Chatzos, and he would learn the rest of the night. It's specific that he would learn balayla. That's specific, that's clear. That night he slept, but typically the Laila he would learn Torah. What Svarim bring, what Svarim say is happening, what the Svarim teach us is happening, is that the Laila, these are things I don't know much about, but there's sugyas of the Laila is a very dangerous time. The Laila represents, what more than represents, the Sitra Achar, there's Koiches HaToma that have power at night, and big Tzaddikim would learn Balayla, put a tremendous dagesh into Limud HaTorah Balayla, and it was Megan, Torah is Megan, and it protected everybody. And Yaakov Avinu had a tremendous hakpada to learn Balayla. Is the Pirush when it's dangerous, when there's Koiches HaToma being shaylet, tremendous Koiches HaToma being shaylet. So Yaakov Avinu would learn Torah. Yaakov Avinu committed and would learn Torah, and that's what Yaakov Avinu, many tzaddikim, they bedafka learned, they were bedafka bringing, they were fighting Koiches HaToma. And Bedafka learned Torah and brought tremendous amounts from their Limud HaTorah. It was Megan to Koiches HaToma that was around. I was very inspired by Rav Vayetzei Yosef was nifter. My home, Rav Vayetzei, my tata spoke of Rav Vayetzei like I didn't see him speak about. In the home, it was like Kodesh Kodashim. A tzaddik, a Talmud Chacham, there was a tremendous value, tremendous respect, the kavod of a tzaddik and a gadol and a goyin b'Torah, tremendous kavod. And when he was nifter, I listened to Espedim, and Rev Radinsky Shlita, the Munsi goyin, he said something fascinating. Somebody told him recently that they heard from me this, and he said, I'm the one who said it, but I always quote him. The guy forgot that I quote him and told Rabbi Radinsky what I said about Rav Yosef. He said, I'm the one who told it to him. He did. And when he was masked Rav Yosef changed our people. He took a large segment. It seems Pashat. It's the Haramas HaKeren HaTorah, the restoring Svardi Yiddishkeit. What he did is Lo Yu'uman. Dozens of yeshivas, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of Yidden were uplifted. The Chiddush was all the years he was learning Torah. He was a Rizig, a Masmid. He had such a kavanah. His mindset was to impact Yidden and to uplift Svardi. He was learning. He had Siyata D'Shmaya in his learning. He was learning with Aldas Kain. He thought of that. I was very, very moved. He was learning Balayla. At times where there were other Kaychas Hatoma, the Yid sat and learned and had it in mind. He thought of that. It wasn't punked, it happened, a nice thing. He sat and learned. And he was sitting and learning because he felt, and he saw Kaychas Hatoma, and he saw people veering. And he said, I could learn Torah and make a big impact. I want to say in our own shul, what's going on is lo yuman. What's going on? It's like the bracha. Aaron told Yitzchak this was a dream for 16 years. That people learning Torah. There's a night seder, there's a first seder, a kollel, a second seder, limudat Torah. That people are learning Torah. This is Megan, and it's something that there are forces, there are difficulty, there's challenges. The real challenge is people learning b'simcha, with sweetness, and with simcha is a tremendous, just a protection. It uplifts, and Yidden all through the Deiros. Yaakov Avinu Balayla, when he saw forces, other types of things, he learned Torah. He learned Torah, and he brought a ruach. He brought a ruach of Torah, and that's Megan. That protects, that uplifts, that elevates. I've been thinking a lot about my father, about my parents. And I think of a decision they made when they were youngsters. It's lo yu'uman. The whole family were figuring out, like, what's their story? My father every yeshiva is precious. Every yeshiva is in a modern yeshiva. Is in a yeshiva. It's not a kasha when a yid steigs. Every yeshiva is in a yeshiva, so he steigs. What's the kasha? It's not like I have a bomb kasha. And any Yid is in a Shama. I don't care where a Yid is. I don't care if a Yid's in public school. He becomes the Gadol Adar. There's no kashas when a Yid steigs. It's not a kasha. You don't have the shemitz of a question. I just know a fact that my parents, when it wasn't popular in their world, my father graduated 12th grade, and him and another boy learned Torah for a year after high school. The other boy stopped a year later, and my father went after Mesifta and kept going for 65, 60 more years and just didn't stop. He made a decision to learn Torah. My mother and her community, a beautiful community of tzidkus, of emunah, to be a kollel person was looked at as strange. It was, I don't want to say mak, because he doesn't know mak. It was unusual, it was muzar, it was foreign. It was a foreign zach. Very, very foreign. To the point their own families worried about them, how they're going to make money, and they're both super intelligent. Their friends were lawyers, doctors, and they both had that type of tchuna to be professionals who make good money and figure it out. They made a decision to learn Torah. My father and mother together, a decision, we're learning Torah. And it was hard, and they were like struggling financially. Their friends were doing well. The wealth, Klal Yisrael is wealthy today. I'm just going to talk blunt because you're my friends. And they were the generation. They were making a lot of money, Yidden. All their friends were building a lot of ashiras that we still have today. They were the generation. Their parents were a lot of people who came new to this country. And their generation started making big money that Klal Yisrael has today. They decided, we want to learn Torah. No, we're learning Torah. Friends making good money, and they were happy for their friends, Sefridin. But they said, we want to make a stand for Torah, and they committed their whole lives to Torah. They committed to Limudat Torah. I heard my mother, I don't think the rest of my life, when my father was no longer conscious, I heard my mother sing to my father, Toras Hashem Tamima. Toras Hashem Tamima. I heard her sing Toras Hashem Tamima to my father. I don't think I'll forget my whole life. They made a stand for Torah, to learn Torah, to take Torah seriously. We have different sites and things that are very zis. People send around pictures. My father wasn't like a big person, like checking out the pictures. He could be Izip sent me, Daniel, that's what you mentioned. There are a lot of pictures of my father learning at Chasnas. There are a lot of pictures, the amount of people that have told me the pictures of my father learning at Chasnas. But it's a picture in my mind and many people's mind. He was learning Torah. I want people to know two things that he learned when nobody saw. He just learned. He didn't learn he didn't go to the wedding to learn for pictures. He was learning there too, but he learned at home and he learned when nobody saw him. He learned. He learned Torah. He learned Torah. He loved Torah. He had an Avas HaTorah. He loved it. He learned it. He learned it. He loved it. Avas HaTorah. He learned those. I also want people to know he danced at Chasnas. He was a big dancer. He did not go there to learn. He could have stayed home. He went there to dance. I want with the pictures of learning. He was dancing. All the Chasnas, specifically a big dancer at Chasnas. Didn't say a good dancer, a big dancer. He was into it, jumping around. He danced at Chasnas. But he certainly always learned Torah, always. That's what he did. He learned Torah. His default setting was learning Torah. At home he was learning. He was learning. That's what he did. The default was learn Torah. If there was something else that had to be done, otherwise he learned. That's what he did, always, always. Friday, Shabbos, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all hours of the day, all hours of the night. He learned Torah. He made a decision, my parents made a decision to learn Torah. It says, Zeichel Dvarim Harbe, a person Zeichel to a lot. I saw unusual things. His schedule was not human. It was not anything I've seen by anybody. At 78, I can't do in a few weeks what he did in a day. It's not a regular thing. I've never seen somebody Kilu get younger. My mother's told me his last 2 years are the busiest of his life. He got younger. It's not normal. A typical day wasn't normal for somebody that age. I've never seen it. And Zeichel Dvarim Harbe, they committed to Torah. They committed to learn Torah. And the impact of people who learn Torah, when there's darkness, when it's Laila, you have to be mechazik in Torah. And Tzaddikim always did this. When there was Laila specifically, they didn't sleep a Laila. They were mechazik specifically in Torah. I want to say to the Chevre, my own personal life, my chezukim is to learn a few minutes. I want in yeshiva, a lot of my thoughts of my life are a yeshiva that I'm involved in. I'm always thinking, how can we make it better and stronger? I sat with my father while he's sick in the hospital. I spent a couple of weeks. Whether I physically was there most of the time and mentally always there. And then for the last few weeks, I'm living with my tata. And I'm trying, I want to pick things up in yeshiva. I'm just trying to learn more. I want to learn more. I want to try to learn more. Just to put more Torah there. Because he's right. He's right, so let's learn a little more. Geshmak, but Geshmak has to be. People are like trying to copy it. We're doing 7 blot, 1 blot. To me, it's clear the Avos Torah is a party. Torah was a party. It was a party. It was just a complete party. When he learned Torah, there was a Simchas HaTorah. It's Pashat, any of he saw, he learned Torah, it was a party. It was his chiyus. It was Geshmak. He came here, he loved handling in Torah, talking in Torah, thinking in Torah. Every discussion revolved, bring a raya. You spoke about things. Where does it say? The Torah weighs in on every topic. There's no topic you can talk. What does the Torah say about it? I was a youngster, 2 girls were psychology majors. They were talking psychology at the table. He said, tell me anything, I'll tell you what the Gemara says about it. We don't have to guess. You could have science book and psychology books. The Torah weighs in on everything. I remember they said 2 principles, and he told them, both of them, where the Gemara talks about it. Well, on the spot, he told them the Gemara. The Gemara, there's no such thing. Everything's in the Torah. What does Hashem say about it? What's spoken about it? And what does Hashem say about it? Remember they were talking about 2 emotions. Can a person feel 2 emotions? He was talking about a person's nifter, the Baruch Dayan. I remember he said to the girls, in handling the sugya, Baruch Dayan Emes, but the person's also B'simcha Ved Yerush. He was talking to Gemara. Chazal speak about everything. And what's the Torah perspective? I sat on panels different time, and Rabbanim quote like it's very cool for a Rav to quote, to know the latest psychologist, to know like Chach, and it's Geschmack, Chach Bagayim Tamin. But I could see he'd be frustrated. We're asking a Rav, like, what does the Torah say about this? Hashem, the Torah, where everything has its root in Chach Bagayim is true, but what we have uniquely is Torah. And a Rav should share, what does the Torah say about this matter? The Torah speaks, hafoich ba de kulaba. Everything's in our precious Torah. And the Torah weighs in any topic we talk about in our house. Now, I don't say we'll always be able to find it. So maybe we can call somebody. We're worried any shayla you have in Yom, psychology, this, that. You have different nidanim and shaylas and wonders. What is it'd be interesting to know. You want to talk about borderline personality, what does the Torah say about it? What's stated in the Torah about it? Everything's there. I can find it, you could find, we have to find people who know Torah. Ask, where's the sugya? And what's the sugya? And what does it say about this topic? It's all the afoich ba the kulaba. So I wanted to express the excitement for the kollel. I say this to my friends, it's not, I wish I could be here more with, and I plan, Be'ez Hashem, I'm always hopeful, but the excitement of Limud Torah, of Chizukim in Limud Torah, things aren't accidental, and if a lot of Yidden, certainly my pictures, my tata learning at a chasna, and a lot of people are picturing a Yid who like learn Torah, and they're picturing such a picture of a Yid learning Torah. That was designed, that's Hashgachas Hashem. The impact of two people that learn Torah is la yu'uman. The impact on so many hundreds and hundreds of mishpachas that are elevated and uplifted because two people learn with joy. I would say that's bigger. It's not for me to say. To know Shas and Rambam and Paiskim and Ksais, he knew a lot of Torah. But the simchas HaTorah is la yu'uman, the joy, the geschmack, the chiyos. Everything's very exact. The last time he was with his balabatim was simchas Torah. Aloy davar, things are exact. The Rebbeinu Shalom runs. It's interesting. Their last time he was fabranging with the chaver, with his saber that was precious to him, was simchas Torah. She jumped around. It was bedafka, very lebedik and dancing. I was thankful we were zeicha to have him here the first day Sukkos. Zeicha b'siyata d'shmai. He ran. He said the speeches in shul. We got to witness somebody who had a cheshek, who had a geschmack, who had a chiyus in Torah, just enjoyed learning Torah and connected to Limud Torah. It says Avram and Yitzchak left a big Reishim, but the one it says Yitzia Sadik Miniras Reishim is Yaakov Avinu, the Loimid Torah. The one who wasn't lun balayla and sat and learned Torah, Yitzia Sadik Miniras Reishim. Certainly each Sadik leaves a Reishim, but somebody who learns Torah is a tremendously megan, and it uplifts people around. It brings tremendous elevation. But b'simcha satorah, abba satorah. When we're mispal on the birch satorah, we say v'harav na Hashem leikeinu. It should be sweet. I have a recollection. It's an interesting thing. It's the first time I'm saying. I didn't say it the whole shiva. I haven't said it to one person. It's been in my mind, but I'm saying it now. I've not said it to one person, not to my mishpacha. I remembered he used to drive me to yeshiva every single day when I was, for a number of years, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, every day. That's how I got to yeshiva. My father drove me to Shachris. He drove me to Shachris and Darche, and then he went to Yeshiva Rockaway. I remember him making Birch Satayra all the years. I remember he would scream out the word Lishma, Lunde Ser Sechel Lishma. But he was making Birch Satayra in the car ride. That's what we have every morning. Later years, he said an early morning daf. So I no longer got to hear the Birch Satayra. At that point, he said a night daf. But every morning, he would say a daf yomi. He would say a shir and daf yomi, and he would say, I was zeicher to hear Birch Satayra, to learn. But in Birch Satayra, we say v'harav na Hashem lekeinu. It should be zistas. It should be sweet. We're mispal simchas Satayra should be sweet. Equally important that we learn in the community, we learn in our homes, so we learn with Geschmack. Geschmack. Find a tam, find ways of learning. My father would say to my kids, he was very outspoken, his derech halimid, he only held vin. There was no, he thought, because he called a dirty word, he only held a vin. People confuse his learning fast. That was just, he knew Shas Be'iyun Rav, and he learned fast. He wanted to know all the Gemaras as a way to Iyun. He held the ikr of learning. The only thing is to know Torah well and clearly. The fast learning was a chiddush that he wanted all the Gemaras in his head as a path to Iyun. But he said to my children many times that I don't care how you learn. I joke about it, I talk about it, and I like spreading it. He spoke Chazara, but deeper, I'm happy. Learn Torah like he wasn't deeper yet, is learn Torah. Now, he did have a way to learn and spoke about it. I like speaking about it. And for sure, Chazara is the ikr, reviewing a lot. He very much, that was important. Whatever you learn, review. Review, really note. He held that review is the main geschmack of Torah, if you really get it well. But review never meant to mindlessly read it again. He never was reading through Shas. He was learning it. Reviewing meant to learn it again. He always said every time he learned, he saw new chidushim and new things. Beya, he knew that was his Masechta. He finished it over 100 times. But he knew he saw new things each time. He said he would find new ideas and new things to learn it again and to ever fresh see it, learn it again. He held that the ikr geshmak in learning was chazara, was reviewing. So he pushed a lot chazara. I wanted to express that the simcha that we have a kollel here, learning Torah and the schus for our whole community, it's a tremendous schus. I'm appreciative to the Younger Light. I'm appreciative to Rav Yankov Metz and all the people that Rav Ezra, the Rosh Kol, the Younger Light themselves, and the whole community that's wanted it, that's behind it. Liberat Torah, but not just others learn for us. Though people learning Torah, and if we could support and encourage and celebrate and respect, that's big too. But also to be mechazik us, to join in, to learn Night Seder, to learn Siddharim, to join in, to learn the simcha, the ikar adgasha simcha. Chiyos, with freilich, with joy. To watch my father say, he said crazy amounts of shiurim. Here's somebody who knew a lot of Torah. He knew Rambam backwards and forwards, upside. You couldn't catch him on a Rambam anywhere. And he said shir for 10 years on Rambam. He knew Rambam very well. His Rambam shir was Lo Ye'umen. I would watch him say shiurim, and you had people sometimes who didn't seem to follow. A man came to Shiva and he said, I slept through 7 years of your father's shir. Then he said, the next 2 times around Shas, I learned Shas. There were Yidden who were there to the point we wondered. People are sitting by a shir, they're half sleeping. And there was never a shir mailed in. I never saw, there was no such thing, thousands of shiurim that were just like every shir counted. He said a lot of shir on Tisha B'Av that people don't learn. He said a 6.5 hour shir. He said shir from 1:30 was camp time. So they were a little early. He said from 1:30 to 8, and he would do the 14 blot, different years. Some years he would do 7 blot, 1 year 7, and some years he did all 14 blot on Tisha B'Av. The day you couldn't learn, he would say a 6.5 hour shir, coast to coast. He would say on Tisha B'Av. So he said many shiurim, but never was it mailed in, never. And sometimes he had people asking funny questions. He had a lot of respect. I watched it, but he wasn't a fake person. Somebody asked, there were people, the big cover, there were many of his balabatim are ridiculous in learning. And the ones that had the big kashas, he was very mechabed. He had Goynish Yidden. Ray Kilson's Dr. Brickman was at my father's Rambam shir. Their exchanges were earth-shattering. His kashas, the back and forth were lo ye'umen, those conversations. There were a lot of brilliant Talmidei Chacham. He was a Talmud of Ava Berman. They'd have beautiful Rischa D'Oraisa. So there were many, many brilliant minds and people, and they got a lot of chshivas. But there were people asking what you and I maybe call klutz kashas, and asking very serious. People are learning Torah. It was and it was serious to him. It was very small shiurim, learning Chumash before Shachris with the Chaver, different kufas, different times. Everything was taken seriously. People are learning Torah, and he cared about that, and was machshav that. There's Yidden learning Torah. Each Yid that came, it's very rare to have people in one shir for 40 years. By him, he had many people by his shir for decades. Mamish Talmidim for decades. They kept coming because he took it seriously, and he took seriously that they took it seriously. It was a serious zach, and it was taken seriously. So I wanted to share that chizuk in limud HaTorah, that chizuk, but simchas HaTorah, geschmack, with chiyus. Each one, we have different styles, different ways. One guy learns fast, low, clear. That's something he would be, if I didn't say it, he wanted clear, and reviewing. Go over it, whatever, with each one, what they do and as they do, but review, to really like put it away, to try to retain it, clear and reviewing. Yeah. Important, learn Torah, the importance of limud HaTorah, the kedusha and elevation. It's a shmooze to me, and somebody whose impact was very, very strong. Just the amount of mishpachas that were elevated from a couple who decided to learn Torah is something that I wanted to share. There's a very, very interesting conversation. Very interesting sugya in this week's parsha that for years I've been like grappling with. I want to read it to the chevra. There's a very complicated sugya, and Yitzchak and I have spoken about this many times. I want to say something new this year, Yitz, from the Chassidish Sfarim, because there's a reason to look. Rav Aaron himself, Rav Aaron Kotler, from a different pasuk this week's parsha, there are times you have to learn machshava, whether it's Kabbalah, machshava, Chassidish Sfarim, because it's clear the pshat is taking you somewhere. It's clear. Rav Aaron gave a different example. I'm going to go into it now from Parshas Vayetzei, where you're forced to say something deeper, something more, because in pshat, now there's always a pshat, ein hamedrash yotzim midei pshutai, but there are times you know you're seeing something more. For years, I'm not just saying it now, Yitz and I read this for years, I knew 100% there's something more. Now, pshat works. Hashem's saying something. I want to share a little oimek, and there's a lot to take from this. It says, Vayishma, in the beginning of Perek Lamed Aleph, Vayishma is divrei b'nei Lavan leimar. Yaakov Avinu hears the Bnei Lavan talking, and they say, Lakach Yaakov, he hears Bnei Lavan. He's lived by Lavan's house a long time, for over 2 decades, and he hears the Bnei Lavan saying, Lakach Yaakov es kol asher lavinu. Yaakov has stolen everything. Yaakov's a wealthy man, and everything he has he took from our father. Umeasher lavinu asas kol hakavod hazeh. All the honor he has belongs to our father. It's an amazing lie. It's like maddening lie. It's just a stupidity. Lavan tried to cheat Yaakov over and over and over. Yaakov did well, worked hard, made a lot of money. Lavan tried to steal it from him, but they always, kederech liars. The Ganav always accuses people of Geneva. In yeshiva, if sometimes a bacher says, people are stealing from me, I've seen cases where the guy has problems with stealing. Ganavim are always accusing others of stealing. That's a famous zach. So here the Bnei Lavan they're saying, and Yaakov hears the Bnei Lavan saying, Yaakov took everything from our father. Lakach Yaakov es kosher lavinu, and me'asher lavinu asa, all the covet he has comes from our tata. That's what Yaakov hears. Vayar Yaakov es pnei Lavan. Yaakov sees Lavan's face. V'nei inenu imay k'tmal shilshin. It doesn't look the same. Vayomer Hashem al Yaakov. It's time to leave Lavan. If you read the Psukim in Pshat, there's no ramification that Lavan's kids were saying stupid stuff. Hashem told them to leave. What does the Torah record? This utter stupidity, the Bnei Lavan, and it doesn't say because of that he decided to leave. No shaykhs. Hashem comes and says, Yaakov, leave. In Pshat, it's a pella. It has no bearings, literally no bearings on the story. It's like a bizarre, no shaykhs. And you work in Pshat. What's happening? He hears the Bnei Lavan say this utter stupidity. Okay, nice. Hashem says, Yaakov, it's time to leave. You could read these psukim. It had no mashmais. There was no bearings. There's nothing that we learn from. Look, what's happening? Say nothing we learned. What's happening? So for years, we've handled in this makom, we've said pshatim and derech pshat that I'm proud of, and we learned things in pshat. But for years, there's something like so funny and strange. And in Svarim, what's brought here, in Svarim Ishbitz, the Meishi Luach speaks about this, and in Svarim they bring, and this is Pashat, that the reason every place we go to is meant for us to learn from. There's things to pull out. They call it Nitzitzis of Kedusha. There's stuff, every single country. We went to Russia, there are real things in Russia. There's good things amongst all the nonsense. Every culture, every sar in the world has things to offer. There are things in America. When I went to Eretz Yisrael and I knew it was wrong, there was some attitude of Yechidim would make crazy fun of America. It didn't move. Hashem put us here. Like Mechatesi, it could be I was very sensitive. They're making fun. Do I feel so American? I'm not. I feel them. I'm a Yid. I'm a Yid, like all of us. We've traveled around. I'm Russian. I'm American. I'm a lot of stuff. I'm Czechoslovakian. We've gone around. We're Yidden. We've moved around. But I knew there was something wrong. They were like mocking. We went there. We were picking something. We were bringing good stuff back. Now there's psilus. There's a lot of stuff we want to take away. Every stop, there were things we were supposed to get. And the Svarim say Yaakov was sent to love and understood there were things he was supposed to pick up there. In that place, it's not, and certainly overcoming the challenge, but even positives, even good zachen that shouldn't be there, that you pick up. The Yid goes around and picks up stuff. And the Mei Shiluach says that Yaakov heard Bnei Lavan say that that Yaakov took as Kol Asher Lavinu. They were saying stupidity, of course. He stole everything that we have. It was Hashem speaking through them, that Yaakov, Hashem was saying, and he speaks through our enemies, you've taken from Lavan. And you've gotten all the Nitzitzis. And then Hashem says, so now it's time to live. It's weiter, the same Hashem talking. So there's two inyanim that I get a lot of chizuk from. I get chizuk that Hashem talks to us even from what the guy says he's talking to us. It's the middle of a conversation. Vayishmas Divir B'nei Lavan, which means I heard Hashem say. That the Rebbeinu Shalom B'nei Lavan said things to me, understood that it's Hashkachas Hashem. So Hashem said to him that you took from Lavan. You have everything from Lavan. And Kol HaKavod Hazeh comes from Lavan. You mamish, you've emptied him out. So now Hashem says, it's time to leave. You've taken from here. So you've taken all the nitzitzis, all the kedusha, all the things you were supposed to learn. Now, at the very least, and I don't know what all these things, somebody could say it's a dangerous thing, we're supposed to learn from America. The answer is of course. But of course, the things, every country we've been in, Klal Yisrael has taken good stuff, for sure, no question. And our job is to throw away bad stuff. And from every country, Hashem didn't send us places, Stam. We took things from it, the positives. We took milas from every, that's Dvarim Pshutim Ad L'Moed. When it says we go to Gullus to get Gerim, it means physical Gerim, and it means we picked up in Yanim. We took from the Goyim. Of course we took things that existed around the world. We're bringing everything in Mailit and raising it and bringing it back to Hashem. But of course, now, at the very least, all the situations of our life, the most simplistic of pshatim, there's something Hashem wants us, wherever He sends us. Each place, each part of our journey has a purpose, has a reason, has a gain from it that we were supposed to get. We learned in Sari Menu, it says all her years were shavim l'taiva. Now, she had a lot of difficult years. She was kidnapped. She didn't have children for decades. But each thing helped account for the person she became. And there were things to pick up from there and to gain. I appreciate the Mei Shiluach, this psukim, that the B'nai Lavan say, you took everything from us. Yeah, there's a degree. There's a degree. I wonder, that anti-Semites, the elders of Zion, all this nonsense, we control the world and we're taking everything, all their money. The guy says this about what money are we taking? Like now, if there's some Yid's a gan of shame on him, lock him up. But what are they talking, the Goyim? Goyim say it. There's probably an echo. The Mei Shiluach says, When the Bnei Lavan would say these things, it was a message from Hashem. You're the Yid is supposed to go amongst the Ummahs and supposed to take the good stuff and be mindful. That which is good to elevate, that which is good to absorb, and obviously to keep away anything that's bad, anything that's wrong, we keep away. And we have tzaddikim and gedolim who help us, who assist us. Avada, we stay separate. This is something as a collective people, there's ashpa, there's some impact, and we're supposed to, through our tzaddikim, through the ummah as a whole, Hashem has, as we do the right things, we absorb some things that are good things, some nekudas. America, a very wise person I trust a lot, says we live in a country that people are very open to try things. Interesting. People are open to, and that can have a tremendous milah. Can have a tremendous milah. It's an open-mindedness to try things. And then you see a dar that's all of a sudden learning Hasidus and learning Sfar. We're learning there's a kibbutz golius going on. It's not so far to say that come to a country. I don't want to like paskin what we took. Let smarter people paskin what we took. What really I want to say, I'm not coming to say that we're smart enough, we have to protect ourselves. I'm not saying so. What should we do about it? Run around and ask? I'm not saying we should do that. These things are dakos. What I am saying is that each place we're put in has a good reason. That's what I get from it. That we're at places, Yaakov's by love, and each stage of our life, each tkufa, each matziv, and we have all different tkufas. And they're not all equally pleasant and geshmak and happy. But all the tkufas of our life have things that we're supposed to get out of it. And we could get out of it, and there's tkufas, each one is precious. I was living together with my father, hearing him chazer a lot of his life. When he was here Sukkot, you never heard him speak about details of his life like he did when he was here the first days and shared. There was a very moving thing to see each tkufa, there's what to gain and what to value and what to pull out of it and what to get out of it. In our own lives has tkufas, their own life. It's funny, many of us are raising children. Raise kids is like tkufas. My wife and I could go weeks here talking about a certain Nisayan and then to never hear from it again. But there was a tkufa, and each tkufa, the children's different ages, the different nisyanis, the different challenges, and the different children going through different grades, different stages, each one has a tremendous value and a tremendous gain. Tremendous if we could be present, if we could understand this as we're going through different tkufas, that there's a gain, and be present to the tkufa. Be present to the tkufa. Be in the matziv. There's a big Torah from the Baal Shem Tov. Min hameitza karasi ka, feel what you feel. Min hameitza karasi ka, but min hameitzer. There was big Torah from the Baal Shem not to run away from your situation. Be in your situation, whatever it might be, and there's what to gain, living in the situation. It's not ignoring, it's not pretending. And we have different situations and different matzavim. But specifically, being in the matzavim, min hametzar, we can get, we could and we should, and Hashem wants us to get tremendous amounts. So this pasuk that Yitzchak and I for years was like handling, and Meishi Luach says that the Bnei Lavan was speaking on behalf of Hashem, and they were saying, "Me asher lavinu, lakach Yaakov is kol asher lavinu." He like robbed everything from our father. So stam stupidity. The Meishi Luach says not stupidity. Hashem had them say it. There was an emes to it. They took big mindless from being around Lavan. From that, just on the simplest level, from being Oymid ben Isayan, from working through, so they say his whole wealth is from our father. There's a shtickle truth to that. So interesting, because Arayim Azeh, the Goyim saying it's like maddening. You read all this anti-Semitism nonsense. Arayim Azeh, the Goyim are saying we take all their money. What are they talking? You didn't contribute a lot. We work hard. What are they saying? You could just lose your Masa. Anti-Semitism. The Meishi Luach says a different shot. They're saying the truth. You should listen a little bit. They're saying everything you have comes from managing with us and all you've stolen. Yeah, it's true. Guilty as charged that our difficulties and our situations and our travels have brought us tremendous, tremendous asheris. The Yid, the Amunah of the Yid, the beauty of the Yid, the Tzidkus of the Yid, from all the different stops and all the different stations of our life, we've taken tremendous asheris. It's so funny, it's because for years, like this pasuk, it could be sometimes we figured this out. We've said things that weren't far from this. I saw it now in Svarim, but for years we knew these psukim were saying stuff. Yes, we found this before. I'm living it now and thinking about it now, but I think we already were Yored. I don't know if it's but when you see it in Svarim, it's exciting and it's exhilarating to put names to this. But to me, it's exciting. To me, it's emes. The psukim are saying something, just like recording other nonsense that has no bearing on the story. Then Hashem says, leave. It's weiter. That was just Hashem talking from the guy. The guy says things, but what's he saying it for? He's saying God Zachen. So the biggest anti-Semitism, things which is used to so much to our detriment. What's happening? Well, what? Mechatesi. They're saying something. They're saying something, and we could hear something. I think in general, the Chassidish way in general was when people are saying things to ask, what am I supposed to hear from this? What could I possibly hear from this? Stam, it's Mishigasim. There are things to pick up. The things that my mother lives like this a lot, statements that are said and people said she takes very seriously. And she hears messages. Even a guy says something, there's what to hear, there's what to study, there's what to learn. I'll tell you one mice, I wasn't planning on saying it, but this is from a Yid. My mother was saying at Shiva that the first Gemara she heard my father say in his sleep. They were shortly after they were married, and he said a Gemara in Baba Basra that there are three things a milsa b'loy taima. And she said at Shiva that this Gemara is the first Gemara. She asked him the Gemara in the morning, what's this Gemara? He said, I hadn't learned it for 2 years, and I don't know, I must have been learning that Gemara. So she said at Shiva, so a guy was at Shiva, said, what? So he said, your husband was nifter on Shabbos, the day he was nifter, that was the blood in Baba Basra, that Gemara. So my mother said, I need to know this Gemara. It's the first Gemara he said in his sleep. It's the Gemara Baba Basra, Kufnan Dalit, and that's the daf. He always learned the daf the whole time they were married. Yeah, this Gemara, he was handling this Gemara. Shleisha Milsa B'loi Time. So she wanted to hear, yeah. So she wanted to hear what the Gemara says. And one of the Milsa B'loi Time is Akoisiv Kol Nechasav Le'ishtoi. If a guy upon passing writes all his money to his wife, he's making her an apitropos. He's not really giving her, even though he wrote all the money, he's not giving, only making her responsible. An apitropos she should handle and make sure that the kids and everybody has the nechasim. It's just an apitropos. She's very chassidish like that. She took that as a charge from Hashem. That's what it's telling her, that you're an apitropos. You have eschayvus. You have eschayvus on all the nechasim to try as best as you can to make sure that projects he was involved in. So she's trying different projects of tzedakah, of other zachen, that it's her achrayas. If that's the Gemara says, you're a apitropos to make sure. This chassidim are very, if something's told to you, something's said by a guy, let alone that it's a Gemara, let alone from a Yid, so it's saying something. So it's a message that Hashem told you something. So that's something in general, the Hashgachas Hashem, but more specifically, difficult things we go through. That we go through different, here's in Beis Lavan, there was tremendous Ashiris in the Beis Lavan. It's important, B'shas Mais and our own stories, to know that. We have to be present to it, and if it's sad, so then we grieve and cry. And if it's shver, it's not like, oh, it's so good. No, we feel. But when we engage and embrace the different matzavim in our life, and we're present to them, there's tremendous ashiris for all the different situations of our life. I wanted to end by saying a tremendous mazel tov. The Rebbeinu Shalom gives you what you need when you need. And in my mishpacha, we wanted simchas. I find it amazing. The koil's like thriving now. I find that is a tremendous gift from Hashem. And then Menachem, somebody who for years is mishpacha mamish, and the birth of a son, the Shalom Zachem this week in the community, and Bez Hashem, the Shatov Mitzlachas, a bris. So Menachem, somebody, his daughter's name is Emunah. Emma's name is Emunah. And he's somebody, him and Elka, people of tremendous, real Emunah, real. Not pretend they're people who live with Emunah. They're emunah, they live with Hashem, real. B'nai Shalom, when the hands of Hashem, they live like that, real. And it's a simcha rabbah, when good people live with emunah, have bracha and see bracha and experience bracha. So it's exciting. It's very, very exciting. So I want to wish a mazel tov to Menachem, wish a mazel tov to the whole tzibur. The bris should be beat of his manish, we megadol your son Menachem, with Torah, l'chup, l'maisim tovim. Hakot Shabbos. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shakol nהיה b'dvarim.
He once said,